So, first question, Michelle. Thank you for coming on and taking time in beautiful Stockholm. You're in Stockholm today?
I am.
Beautiful Stockholm. How does an American end up in Stockholm and end up becoming, I think Dave refers to as a guru of social media in the Nordics?
Yeah. I actually ended up, love brought me to Sweden originally. Met somebody actually in San Francisco, and that didn't actually work out. And then met a second Swedish man in Italy, and yeah, now here, and really enjoy Sweden and Stockholm. It's an amazing lifestyle compared to, I come from California. So California is beautiful, but the way of life and the simplicity here is fabulous.
So, how have you ended up becoming, as I say, Dave's words, not mine, this social media guru?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say I'm a guru, but I'm definitely fascinated and curious. And what my background is, when I graduated from university, I actually started within the human resources world. I worked for a global engineering company called Fluor Daniel.
Yeah.
And did a variety of things there. Worked a little bit with recruiting, but mainly worked with building their internal CV database. Since engineering is very project based, when a project is over, they have to then take that talent and find the right talent for new projects. So we actually built our own CV database in Lotus Notes, actually, way back in, I don't know, the early 90s.
I was going to say, if it was built in Lotus Notes, that's an early 90s. That's a 92 type development program.
Exactly. 92 was, I think that's exactly the year. So it's exactly when I graduated from university. And then after that, I decided to learn sales and went into healthcare sales for quite some time. And then actually during that career, that's when I met my first Swedish man and made my way over to Sweden and eventually worked for a large Swedish global employer branding firm called Universum Communications.
I know them quite well.
Yes.
Good company.
Was there with them, yeah, for 5 to 6 years. Started off as a country manager responsible for the U.S. market from Sweden. Slowly made my way over made my way up to be responsible for the whole entire market, and then eventually open up their New York office in Manhattan. And then in 2000, I decided to join a startup in San Francisco with one of a very well-known human resources professional, that Michael McNeil. He actually, was responsible for Cisco at the time, for Cisco's whole entire HR area. So it was a startup called Pure Carbon, and there the idea was to actually make it easier for the job seeker to, as you know, the application process is so intense and time-consuming and frustrating for the job seeker. So his idea was actually to build a platform where multiple employers would use it, and then whenever a potential employee would log in, they wouldn't have to re-enter any of their data or information. And that was during the crash, actually, and didn't go very well. They eventually ended up selling it to a company called WorkStream.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was not good timing for this particular startup. Then I decided to go back to Sweden and go back to Universum Communications, and was responsible for their international business development. So mainly responsible for large channel partners. And then became a mom for a little while, 3 kids, and then I became one of the new starters with Sweden's first job aggregator called Worky.se. Was doing that for 2 years, the last 2 years about. And then over the last year, I just became very interested in how social media is going to impact not just recruiting, but HR in general. And then also got attracted to the mobile and how the mobile is actually going to also change human resources and recruiting. So I decided to leave working and start my own company now called Social Honesty. And there we will have 3 different focus areas. One is helping companies with social media strategy, auditing, campaigns, education, everything around social media within the entire HR organization. Then the second piece will be mobile, helping HR, not just recruitment, but all of HR utilize and leverage the mobile for their entire organization when it comes to talent. And then the last is I'm building a new job sharing platform that will help companies, both corporate companies as well as recruitment companies, utilize LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook to share and refer jobs in an automized way.
First question. Social media and HR.
Yeah.
Do HR, in your opinion, get it?
Well, I can only talk from my market.
That's what I want to hear about, the Swedish market.
No, not in Sweden. And the reason is that we typically in this market fall about 2 to 5, sorry about that.
That's okay.
About between, depending on what the product and service is, about 2 to 5 years behind the US market. So social media within HR is actually very new in Sweden. And so most of the companies don't get it. No.
Do you think actually they anymore get it in the US?
I think there are some firms that are getting it actually. I think they are learning over the last couple years from making mistakes and so on. I do think some of them are getting it.
Where do you think, not just in recruiting, but where do you think social media can help and support what HR departments are trying to do?
I believe that social media will actually transform the way HR works in general with all aspects of HR. I think it will kind of help HR become what it was in the beginning, a more social organization, a people-oriented department within companies. And I believe that they will be able to use it for engagement. I believe they will be able to use it in a huge way for employer branding. I would say that's a very big area. Again, recruiting. I think they will be able to utilize it in quite a few different areas.